For billions of years, the sun has been the one constant in our lives, unwavering, eternal, and alive with fire. Every morning, it rises without fail, casting its golden light across the oceans, mountains, and cities of Earth. The rhythm of life itself depends on it. The warmth on your face, the blue of the sky, the glow that makes the world feel alive, all of it comes from that brilliant star 150 million kilometers away. We have lived our entire existence under its gaze, never once imagining that it could disappear. But imagine this. You wake up one morning to silence. There's no glow creeping through your curtains, no warmth on your skin, no sunlight spilling across the horizon. The world outside your window isn't dim like dawn, it's pitch black. The sun has vanished. Not an eclipse, not a storm, just darkness. For a few strange moments, people might look to the sky in confusion, wondering if their eyes are playing tricks. Then panic begins to spread. The sun, the source of all light, all life, has simply gone dark. At first, nothing feels immediately wrong. Your phone still works, the air still feels normal. The last rays of sunlight that left the sun 8 minutes ago are still on their way, traveling through space at the speed of light. For those 8 final minutes, everything on Earth continues as usual. Children walk to school, cars move through traffic, and no one knows that the very heart of our solar system has already died. Then, suddenly, it happens. The light fades. Not slowly, not like a sunset, but instantly. One moment the sky is blue, and the next it's black. The stars appear in the middle of the day, sharp and cold. A chilling silence settles over the planet. Birds stop singing. The wind grows still. The air feels different, as if the world itself is holding its breath. Humanity has never known true darkness before, not like this. This is a darkness that reaches the bones, a silence that feels infinite. Across the globe, power grids begin to strain as lights flicker on everywhere at once. Solar energy production collapses immediately. Satellites orbiting above lose the constant push of solar radiation that stabilizes their paths. The temperature, once held in balance by sunlight, begins to fall slowly at first, but relentlessly. Within hours, the surface of the Earth begins to cool. People gather outside, staring upward at the black void where the sun should be. There's no glowing disk, no hint of color, only an empty circle in the sky surrounded by the stars that were once hidden by its light. The moon, now no longer illuminated, disappears too, blending into the darkness. The familiar dance of day and night ceases to exist. Time itself feels broken. Across the world, scientists, astronomers, and world leaders scramble for answers. Was it an unknown cosmic event? A collapse? Something we couldn't have predicted? But there's no warning, no explanation, just the endless dark. In that moment, every human being feels the same terrifying truth. The sun, the very thing that gave birth to life on Earth, is gone. Its warmth, its light, its gravity, everything we've ever depended on has vanished. And as the hours pass and the world grows colder, one haunting question echoes in every mind. What happens now? When the sun vanishes, Earth doesn't know it right away. For just over 8 minutes, everything remains the same. Light, warmth, and color still flood the planet because those rays of sunshine left the sun before it went dark. It's a strange, invisible grace period, a fragile illusion of normalcy before reality sets in. During those 8 minutes and 20 seconds, humanity lives unknowingly in the final glow of a dying star. Children laugh on playgrounds. Airplanes cross the sky. People scroll through their phones, oblivious to the cosmic disaster unfolding 150 million kilometers away. The sun's last photons, tiny packets of light, are still racing through space, carrying the final message of life and energy we'll ever receive from our star. And then, like a candle being snuffed out, the message stops. Suddenly, light on Earth begins to fade. Not gradually like the gentle hues of sunset, but sharply, unnaturally, as if someone has dimmed the universe itself. Within seconds, a deep shadow sweeps across the globe. The bright blue sky turns a ghostly gray, then black. The stars above distant, ancient suns shine coldly where our own used to burn. The daylight we took for granted every morning is gone, and the world slips into eternal night. At first, there is confusion. People flood social media, posting blurry photos of the dark sky, wondering if it's an eclipse or some atmospheric phenomenon. But astronomers quickly confirm the unthinkable: there is no eclipse. The sun's light is gone. Observatories around the world try to point their telescopes toward where the sun should be, but they see nothing. No glow, no disk, not even a faint outline. It's as if the sun has been erased from existence. Fear spreads faster than the darkness. In cities, power grids begin to flicker as solar power vanishes completely. Backup generators kick in, but they can't sustain entire nations. Satellites orbiting Earth immediately begin to lose contact with ground stations as the sudden shift in solar radiation disrupts their instruments. The temperature, which depends entirely on sunlight, begins to fall first by a few degrees, then more. Within the first hour, the chill becomes noticeable. In homes, people step outside, shivering under the eerie starlight. The air feels heavier, colder, quieter. Without the sun's radiation, weather patterns stall. The wind weakens. Clouds fade into thin black silhouettes. The familiar hum of the world, the buzzing of insects, the rustle of leaves, the distant chirping of birds begins to fade away. The planet seems to hold its breath, as if nature itself senses that something sacred has ended. In the oceans, the surface begins to cool. The great currents, powered by heat from the sun, start to slow. Coral reefs and shallow marine life begin to feel the first shock of dropping temperatures. On land, photosynthesis, the process that sustains nearly every living thing on Earth, stops instantly. Trees, plants, crops, all life dependent on sunlight begins its countdown to extinction. By now, humanity knows what has happened. Scientists confirm the impossible. The sun has ceased to emit light and heat. In control rooms, astronomers exchange stunned glances, their faces illuminated only by the glow of their monitors. The moment the sun's light vanishes, the world plunges into chaos. Night falls everywhere at once, not a gentle night, not the quiet kind that drifts in with the moon, but an all-consuming darkness that swallows everything. There is no dawn, no horizon glowing with warmth. The Earth, once bathed in golden light, now spins beneath a cold, black sky where the stars look sharp and merciless. At first, people are frozen in disbelief. News channels stutter with confusion, social media overflows with fear, and scientists race to confirm the impossible. Within minutes, every telescope on Earth points toward the empty space where the sun once burned. The answer is undeniable. The sun's energy has stopped. There's no light, no radiation, no warmth, just emptiness. Humanity stands face to face with a silence that stretches across the solar system. The first few hours are filled with frantic noise sirens, news broadcasts, people shouting in the streets. Then, one by one, the sounds begin to fade as the world adjusts to a reality that feels impossible to comprehend. The air cools quickly. Without sunlight heating the atmosphere, temperatures begin to drop sharply a few degrees every hour. Cities that were once warm and bright under the sun's glow begin to feel the creeping chill of space pressing against their walls. In homes, lights flicker on and stay on, powered by electricity and fear. But the warmth of a light bulb can't replace the warmth of a star. People wrap themselves in blankets, turn up their heaters, and stare out into the pitch-black sky where nothing moves. Across the world, solar panels have gone completely dead, plunging millions into immediate power shortages. Energy reserves start depleting as the demand skyrockets. Animals sense at first the change, the absence. Birds fall silent. Migratory patterns vanish overnight. Sea creatures that rely on sunlight for navigation lose their way in the dark. Plants stop photosynthesis instantly. Leaves begin to wilt, and crops will soon start to die. The chain reaction has already begun, quietly but relentlessly. Life on Earth has been thrown out of balance in a single moment. By the end of the first day, the transformation is undeniable. The average global temperature has already fallen by more than 10 degrees Celsius. Frost begins to form on cars and rooftops in places where it never snowed before. Rivers start to cool. The edges of lakes begin to freeze. The atmosphere itself grows thinner and drier as water vapor condenses into ice. Clouds, once brilliant white, turn into heavy gray veils that block what little starlight remains. In the cities, fear turns to panic. Grocery stores are stripped bare within hours. Governments issue emergency broadcasts, promising that scientists are working on a solution, but no one really believes it. Human beings, the most intelligent species on Earth, are realizing that all their technology, all their progress still depends on one thing they cannot control: the light of the sun. Meanwhile, in observatories and space agencies, teams of astronomers and physicists stare at screens filled with data that no longer changes. The solar radiation meters read 0. Communication with solar probes has gone silent. The instruments that once basked in the sun's endless power now drift in cold darkness. There's nothing left to measure, nothing to detect, only silence. And still, in that first 24 hours, a strange, haunting beauty settles over the Earth. The sky, now completely dark, reveals billions of stars, glowing softly where once the sun's light hid them. For the first time, humanity sees the universe exactly as it is: infinite, vast, and mercilessly cold. Some people find comfort in that sight. Others find despair. Because as the stars shine down, one truth becomes clearer with every passing minute. The sun, the giver of life, has left us, and without it, our fragile world is beginning to unravel. 7 days. That's all it takes for the Earth to become unrecognizable. Within hours of losing the sun, the warmth that once bathed our planet begins to drain away like breath fading from glass. By the end of the first day, frost coats the streets of cities that have never known winter. By the third, oceans near the poles start to harden into glittering plains of ice. And by the 7th, the entire world has grown colder than anyone thought possible. The era of warmth, the age of sunlight, is over. During that first week, the temperature plunges below negative 40 degrees Celsius across much of the globe. The air feels sharp, metallic, and dry. Snow no longer falls softly. It comes down in sheets of frozen dust, whipped by bitter winds that sweep across empty highways and silent towns. The sky is black, not because it's night, but because it is forever night now. The sun's absence has stolen the rhythm of time itself. The oceans, once alive with color and movement, begin to die. Without sunlight, photosynthesis halts entirely. Tiny plankton, the base of the marine food chain, vanish within days. Fish follow soon after. The upper layers of water freeze into thick ice sheets that stretch for miles, trapping what life remains below in an ever-dimming world. Only near volcanic vents deep under the sea does life continue, feeding off heat from the planet's core, a reminder that Earth still holds a faint heartbeat hidden beneath the cold. On land, the transformation is brutal. Forests that once swayed with sunlight now stand silent and still, their leaves blackened and brittle. The air is filled with the creak of freezing wood and the crack of ice splitting rock. Cities, built for comfort, not survival, begin to fail. Water pipes burst. Power grids collapse under the strain. People burn anything they can find. Wood, furniture, even books, just to keep the frost from creeping into their lungs. Governments declare global emergencies, but borders mean little now. Communication falters as satellites deprived of solar power go dark. Radio signals crackle through static. The world that was once connected by light and warmth is now fractured into isolated pockets of survival. Humanity is shrinking inward into basements, caves, and bunkers, clinging to artificial heat like moths around the last flickering flame. The planet's surface is wrapped in a shell of ice. The oceans are sealed beneath a frozen crust. Clouds no longer move. The winds have slowed to stillness. Even sound seems muffled by the cold. The world is quiet, not peaceful, but empty. For billions of years, the sun's warmth held back the void. It nourished every leaf, every heartbeat, every spark of life that ever existed here. Now, with that light gone, the universe has reclaimed what it once owned. The Earth drifts in silence through the dark, a lonely blue world turning slowly toward eternity, frozen, forgotten, and utterly alone. 1 year without the Sunday, the Earth, once a living, breathing world, is now a silent sphere of ice drifting through the dark. From space, it no longer glows with the soft blue shimmer of oceans and atmosphere. Instead, it reflects a pale, ghostly light from distant stars, like a frozen marble abandoned in the void. On the surface, there is no life left. Temperatures have plummeted to negative 100 degrees Celsius and lower, colder than any winter our planet ever knew. The air has grown thin and brittle. Even sound struggles to travel through the frozen stillness. The oceans, once alive with movement, are sealed beneath a shell of ice dozens of meters thick. The continents buried under snow and permafrost have become silent tombs for the civilizations that once flourished there. The remnants of humanity have moved underground. In vast bunkers deep within mountains or carved beneath cities, survivors live by the dim glow of artificial light. Nuclear and geothermal reactors provide warmth where the sun no longer can. Crops are grown in hydroponic chambers under LED lamps. These underground worlds are small, self-contained bubbles of life surrounded by an endless graveyard of ice. Time itself feels broken. There is no sunrise, no sunset, only the mechanical rhythm of clocks, the heartbeat of generators, and the constant hum of machines keeping the cold at bay. Days blend into nights until the very concept of day no longer means anything. The human body, so used to the pattern of light and darkness, struggles to adapt. People begin to lose their sense of time and, slowly, their sense of hope. Yet even in this darkness, humanity's instinct to survive endures. Scientists continue their work, studying the frozen earth and the void above it. Some dream of reigniting the sun, impossible though it seems. Others turn their eyes to the stars, searching for distant worlds that might still bask in light. They wonder if somewhere, out there, another civilization has watched its own star die, asking the same question. What happens when the light goes out? Outside the bunkers, the world is utterly alien. The atmosphere has begun to freeze oxygen and nitrogen, crystallizing into tiny flakes that fall like snow. The sky is no longer black but filled with shimmering ice dust, glowing faintly in the reflected starlight. The moon hangs above, locked in orbit around a planet that no longer lives, its surface reflecting the faint glimmer of distant galaxies. Volcanoes powered by the heat of the Earth's core still erupt occasionally, their molten lava cutting brief rivers of fire across the ice. But even these bursts of life fade quickly, swallowed by the cold. The planet is now ruled by silence and frost. A few surviving satellites continue to orbit, their sensors still whispering faint signals to Earth. They record images of the frozen globe, a monument to what once was. The human race, deep underground, watches those transmissions like ghosts watching their own tomb. The recordings are not just science, they are memory proof that once there was sunlight. As the first year ends, humanity has adapted, but only barely. The bunkers are holding, but supplies are finite. Power sources are fragile. Every system must work perfectly, or death creeps in. Still, against all odds, a small flame of life persists, fragile, flickering, but unbroken. And above them, far beyond the ice and rock, the universe remains vast and indifferent. The stars still shine, distant and eternal, as if mocking the silence of the world that once called them beautiful. The sun is gone, but for those who survive, its memory burns brighter than ever, because even in the endless dark, humanity still remembers the light. 10 years. It has been 10 years since the sun went dark. The Earth is now a ghost planet, a silent sphere adrift in eternal night. The once blue oceans are buried beneath miles of ice, a white, cracked shell covering what was once the cradle of life. The continents are unrecognizable. Cities lie entombed beneath glaciers, their towers encased in frost, their streets buried under centuries of snow that fell long after the last human footsteps disappeared from the surface. There are no clouds, no rain, no wind, only the creaking of ice expanding and breaking in the cold. The sky is black and endless. The stars shimmer faintly above, but they give no warmth, no mercy. The moon still circles the frozen earth, casting long, pale shadows across continents that will never see daylight again. Underground, deep below the frozen crust, the last remnants of humanity endure, but they are not the same. Generations have lived and died without ever seeing the sky. Children are born who have never known the meaning of sunlight, who know the sun only from faded photographs and whispered stories. To them, the idea of warmth, of shadows cast by daylight, sounds like mythology, a fairy tale of a forgotten world. Inside the bunkers, life has grown desperate. Food supplies dwindle, systems fail, artificial lights flicker, powered by reactors running low on fuel. The air tastes metallic, recycled too many times. Plants grown under weak lamps produce smaller and smaller yields. The hum of machinery, once comforting, has become a haunting reminder that if it stops, everything dies. Outside, the atmosphere itself is collapsing. Without sunlight to warm it, gases have condensed and fallen to the surface as snow. Oxygen and nitrogen are trapped in layers of frozen air. Breathing outside would be impossible. The cold alone would shatter the lungs. The planet's magnetic field, once powered by its molten core, begins to weaken. Radiation from distant stars and galaxies now seeps freely through the void, striking the dead Earth without resistance. And yet, life's stubborn, unyielding life refuses to vanish completely. In the deepest parts of the ocean, where volcanic vents still bubble heat from the planet's core, microscopic organisms continue to thrive. Bacteria and extremophiles feed on the minerals from beneath the crust, forming tiny ecosystems that shimmer in the darkness like faint embers of hope. In the grand silence of extinction, they are the last heartbeat of a dying planet. But even those embers will fade in time. The geothermal energy sustaining them will dwindle, and when it does, Earth will become completely still. A world once teeming with life will lie frozen and silent, its story buried beneath a crust of eternal ice. From space, the Earth no longer stands out. It blends into the black, a faint frozen rock among billions of others. The only evidence that life ever existed here are the faint metal echoes orbiting above. Silent satellites drifting through the void, carrying within their memory the final transmissions of humanity. In one of those satellites, still powered by the last drops of energy, a simple message continues to broadcast into space, repeating endlessly, "To whoever finds this, we once had a Sunday." No one answers, no one ever will. The universe listens in silence, indifferent as ever. 10 years after the sun's death, Earth has become what it always feared, a lonely world, forgotten by the light that gave it life. ChatGPT said, "In the end, the sun's silence would be more terrifying than its fire. Without its light, Earth would freeze, humanity would fade, and the stars would be our only witnesses." So cherish every sunrise, because one day even the brightest light can go dark.